conversation right now that is running wild on social media, and I'm gonna have to say the person's name who I seen the clip of is Nu'ma Ali Khan, where he says that the wealth of the husband belongs to the wife, and the wife's wealth belongs to the wife. So so sisters now really, and I've heard many, even I have conversations with them, my students sometimes, and they say like, yeah, that's like, yeah, it's our money, you know. And so the husband's money is their money, and their money is their money, right?
No, no, the wealth, the no. So the wife's wealth, all right, the wife's wealth doesn't necessarily belong to the wife. So we're taught there's a difference between
Okay.
her own wealth and between an income that she makes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
There's a difference. So this is actually two segments.
Okay.
Okay. So the wife's wealth, if she actually had that wealth before she got married, that is hers and hers alone.
Okay.
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 Hers and hers alone. So for the wealth, like I said, the wealth that she had before marriage, that is hers and hers alone. Or whether she got this as within that culture, that's hers. So for example, in certain cultures, she gets Eid money, for example, or she gets gift money. That is hers and hers alone. That's her own independent wealth.
Okay.
That's one thing. Number two is that for the income that she makes, it's very common that we would hear the dua saying, it's that it's hers, and the man cannot have whatsoever any part of that money. Fiqhiyan, that is not accurate.
Ooh.
It's not accurate. There are actually seven differences of opinions regarding this mas'ala in terms of the woman's income. And it's really said that many times the dua, when they want to speak about women's rights and etc., sometimes I would say they're not specialized in fiqh, and they would say rhetorical speech, let me say it that way. There are actually almost seven differences of opinions on whether does she actually invest one whole, in other words, all of her money within the household. So let's
Okay.
say she gets an 8-hour job, and let's just assume she's making $4,000. Does she have to invest all the $4,000 within the household? Since, hey, it's your income, it's just like the man is supposed to be investing $4,000, then you would have to invest $4,000. Or is it half? Or is it none? Or is it 1/3? Or is it 2/3? Or is it, according to the Hanafis, it's basically what they agreed upon? So they
Wow.
would agree on between the scholars. Now, the most controversy is really within the Maliki madhab, in where you've got differences of opinions within the Maliki madhab itself. So,
Okay.
is there any text that actually gives me any particular number? There is really none. There is no text to give me one particular number, and which is really based on al-ma'ruf urfan kal-mashruti shartan. It's actually based on al-urf. It's based on what they would agree on, or culture, or etc. But there's no particular text that actually said how much she invests. And to even say that she would basically take all the money and basically not have to invest anything is also a place of really needs nazar. It really needs revision, which is the Hanbali madhab. Because
Mm.
if she's going to be leaving 8 hours, so let's speak about justice here. If she's going to
Okay.
be leaving 8 hours, all right, and she's going to be coming back, oh, this is my money, this is my money, and he's leaving for 8 hours as well, and that's, oh no, that you have to spend on the household, you have to pay the rent, and you have to pay all the expenses, and the where and why did this problem actually come about? Where did the
Mm.
discussion actually start? The discussion really started in, most of it was in the fourth, fifth century Hijrah. That discussion, and the main reason for the controversy and the whole debate here was really because of how the scholars defined marriage. And this
Ah.
is something to, when they actually defined marriage, they actually defined it as حل استمتاع رجل بآدمية. It is the permissibility of a man finding pleasure in a human female. The reason why they defined it that way is because they wanted to canonize what we actually mean by marriage. And if this actually, just even from that ta'rif, from that definition, this actually brought in another problem, which is, does a woman actually have to serve her husband?
Okay.
Does she have to clean and fix in the household or not? This brought in another problem. And that's the thing, is that if you're going to confine yourself in a definition like that, and then you want to take it from there, well, that's not even a ta'rif Qur'ani. That's not even a definition that comes from Qur'an. They canonized it and took it from that base, and then started, okay, well, we're going to use this definition, and we're going to base all our canonization and how we legalize and how we regulate the husband and wife relations based on that definition. So for those that actually want to say that, the wife's wealth actually, or the husband's wealth belongs to her, are you going to accept that definition too? Are you also going to consider that, yes, based on that definition, you're going to say, I'm not going to be obligated to work within the household, and I don't have to cook and I don't have to clean? You're going to accept that definition, and you're going to say, okay, well, let's accept that definition, and let's accept that you also don't have that right as well. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it gets messy.
It gets complicated. Well, freedom goes both ways.
Now,
It goes both ways. If you want to say that, oh, I don't want to work within the household and I want the money to myself, well, then I'm going to tell you, oh, you're going to take also that the husband doesn't have to pay for your health care too? Because definition of marriage was, yeah, that it's basically you're going to take that too. You see, it goes back. It goes back, and it's really sad that many times people are taking in rhetoric and don't really go back to where did the conversation really begin. So let's go back to that part of it, where the wealth of the wife belongs to the wife and the wealth of the husband belongs to the wife. That's actually not true. The wealth of the husband belongs to the wife is absolutely not true, because that's why the Prophet ﷺ actually said in the hadith that the woman is actually حفظها لنفسها or حفظها لماله, that she guards his wealth. The hadith لماله, she guards his wealth. What was it called? It was called his wealth. It wasn't called her wealth. In fact, that she would not do sadaqah without his idhn. Wow. She would not bring anybody inside his home without his idhn, without his permission. So to actually say that, that's absolutely wrong. And it's really sad. Maybe, I don't know the context of what he said it in. He probably said it in, just to joke around. And many times people don't recognize that when they joke around, if they don't actually base it in fiqh, then it becomes taken out of context, and it becomes something that people misunderstand. And then it becomes the trend that people don't actually take it back and trace it back to fiqh. So that's not accurate. The wife's wealth, we went into details, and the husband's wealth is not necessarily the wife's wealth. She has to take permission if she's using the husband's wealth to actually understand that is his wealth and not hers to actually, misuse. At the end of the day, is that respecting not only wealth, but respecting also al-hudud. Hudud, respecting what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had regulated, respecting the boundaries is actually part of Islam. And that's what brings in the balance, even within the marriage, the husband and the wife, by respecting boundaries, respecting the deen, respecting health, respecting, so we've got deen, nafs, aql, respecting mental health, respecting al-ird, chastity and family and privacy, and respecting al-mal. All
So,
that is to be respected, and
no.
all that is to be considered as the main vertebra of Islam and every single person's right.